scared.
We can't afford any sound effects.
No.
Even though there's
Millions of free sound effects.
yeah.
On freesoundeffects.com.
Can't afford it.
No.
It's Halloween. Happy Halloween.
Yes, spooky season is here.
God damn it.
Although by the time people hear this, spooky season will be just about over.
Well, no, because this will come out during the morning, so it's
Right.
the spookiest night of all.
The spookiest morning
is yet to come.
Oh, what a spookiest morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know I hate it when people say spooky season.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it.
As someone who has to watch a lot of local news, that's all they say now.
Well,
they barely
spooky
say Halloween
season is
anymore.
here.
Yeah, they just say that.
Mm.
Stop.
That's what it is.
It's not.
No.
No. It's Halloween and
course.
October.
Or like Halloween season.
Don't even
I
say
could
that.
almost
Just
understand.
fucking say
Well,
October.
it's like Christmas season, you know. As someone who grew up being a big fan of
I'll
Halloween.
accept it over... I mean, I don't care if people do Halloween stuff all throughout October. That
Oh,
doesn't
sure.
bother me at all.
I would start decorating
When else
in
would
like
you do it?
mid-September,
That's fine.
usually.
I don't care. Because there's nothing else to do in September.
That's true. Also, like, in grocery stores now, as soon as 4th of July is over, they switch to Halloween
That's a little
stuff.
early.
It is extremely early.
What bothers me is the nomenclature
Mm-hmm.
of them now refusing to say Halloween. and only saying spooky season.
I wonder if it got, like,
Honestly,
shadow banned.
I just hate the word spooky.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because it became too, like, co-opted by the spooky industrial complex.
Yeah. It is Halloween.
Yeah.
And we are gay.
Yeah, we are.
Which means we should be talking about Elvira.
The Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah.
I assume it's a hearse, because it's Halloween. We have to keep it in.
Yeah, oh, yeah, you're right.
It's thematic.
Kind of, maybe a little strange we haven't done this already.
Yeah. Well, she became... she's always been, like, a staple of queer obsession.
Yes. And for good reason.
Yes. She's got big tits and a great personality.
Well, and there's a lot of other reasons. We'll get to in just a second.
I know.
those aren't the only things that endear you to the gays.
That's all we care about. Big tits and a good personality.
But she is also, you may have seen a bit of news recently in that her new memoir, Yours Cruelly, Elvira,
Great name.
which I did read, she revealed that she's been in a relationship with a woman for 19 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's really, that part of the book is really interesting
Mm-hmm.
because she says she'd never really had feelings for women before. She had never considered herself anything other than just a straight woman, but that she fell in love with this person who was her, like, personal trainer.
Wow.
And then moved in with her during, like, rough times, and then they just stayed together.
Wow.
So, yeah, really, really interesting.
Wow. Guess I have to read a book.
You absolutely must read this book.
Do you own it, like a hard copy?
No. I never own hard copies anymore.
That's fair, yeah.
Unless I might buy it, actually. Now that because I only buy hard copies of things I know I like.
Yeah. That
Movies
you'll,
or
like, wanna
books
read again.
that I will want to read or watch again, or just to, like, want to have.
I like to have a hard copy of a book in the event of the apocalypse. That, like, we lose all technology, because then I can be, like, the librarian in the future.
Even
But
if
then
we
my
lose all
glasses
technology,
crack
I could probably charge my Kindle.
with this power of learning.
I can plug it into a potato.
That's true. Potato power.
I learned that in science.
Yeah, that was, like, one of the biggest lies. They never explained that it's just conducting.
Yeah. Well, no, they did.
Oh, well, I never paid attention.
You thought the potato was powering the light.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought everyone did.
I mean, that's fair.
That's, like, the thing.
Unless you pay attention.
Yeah, but who pays attention? You just see potato power.
The book also coincides with her 40th anniversary, the character's anniversary, because the show that she premiered on, Elvira's movie Macabre, premiered in 1981.
Wow.
She is 70. She didn't start doing that character until she was 30.
That's, first of all, crazy and good for her.
Yeah, she looks amazing.
Yes.
You might not know her as herself, because Elvira's the character, and it's played by the actress Cassandra Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
I felt so stupid when I found that out, which, like, very
found out
recently.
that wasn't her real name?
I don't know how much I mean, I assumed that it was a character of some sorts, but I didn't even think about the possibility of, I think that's what it is. I didn't consider that it wasn't anyone other than Elvira.
Right. Yeah.
Because she's like an icon, like a pop culture icon.
Mm. But like the character's a pop culture icon.
Yes.
And she is the character.
But it's like, I knew that like Pee Wee Herman was played by Paul Rubens.
Right.
I'll come back to that.
Oh.
But yeah, I just never thought about it, I think.
Right.
So I was like, it makes sense that there's a person under there that doesn't look like this all the time. Although a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
She's been doing it for 40 years.
If she's going to the grocery store, she might not.
Well, she's also done plenty of acting roles outside of it.
Really?
Even in the time since.
Oh, interesting.
And she said that it helped that Elvira was such a done-up character because she could go and get roles without them really having to worry about being like, well, what it would look like if Elvira's in this role? People will only focus on that, when really no one would probably notice.
Elvira can be the romantic lead.
She's just like she's like a redheaded woman under it that doesn't look like a vampiress.
No, a vampiress, you say?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Great vampirinese.
Yeah, I don't know why I said it like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Vampiress.
Yeah, vampress.
I definitely think you should read the book. You and everyone listening, because Jesus Christ, her life and career is the most fascinating thing ever.
Really?
She doesn't talk about Elvira even really until over halfway through the book.
Wow.
Because, and you kind of, I like forgot what I was reading almost because I was so invested in what was happening.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give like a brief little overview of some of her
life events,
her things. She like grew up in like Kansas and Colorado, a very small town. In like the 60s, started dancing as a go-go girl in junior high.
Oh. Like professionally?
Yes, she would go to middle school and then at night go to like clubs and bars in a cage and like be a go-go dancer. Entirely of her own volition.
Well, sure.
Yeah, did a lot of that, including at a drag bar where she also performed sometimes in drag.
Oh, wow, cool.
At 17, she was snatched up to become a Vegas showgirl in like a big Vegas show, which comes up in the movie Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, which we watched.
Yes.
So that was like true to life. While she was in that show, they used the showgirls as extras in a Vegas scene in Diamonds Are Forever.
Is she in Diamonds Are Forever then?
Yes.
Oh. Does she get credit?
I assume so.
Okay, that's cool.
Not as Elvira.
Well, yeah.
She was the frontwoman singer for an Italian rock band.
What?
Yeah.
Does she speak Italian?
Yes.
Oh.
She didn't when she moved to Italy.
She moved to Italy?
Yeah, she lived in Italy for a while.
That's so cool.
She worked as a Playboy model, would like go to different events and things.
Huh.
Like
kids' birthdays?
This is not really part of her career trajectory, but I love this fact. She sold like racy and nude pictures of her and her girlfriends to Japanese men's magazines.
That's awesome.
That is iconic.
Yes.
She, again, in part of her ties to the gay community, she worked as part of a traveling gay-centric review that was like one of the first in the country when people started to do acts specifically tailored for gay people. That was all gay men, one straight man, and her.
That's awesome.
Called Mama's Boys.
Was she Mama?
I don't know what the title meant.
I'm hoping a drag queen was Mama.
And that they like did a long, like summer-long residency in Provincetown.
Oh, wow.
So she like lived there for a while, even after that gig.
That makes sense.
She was part of the Groundlings Theater.
Yeah, I knew that.
With Paul Rubens.
Yeah.
Phil Hartman.
Wow.
And Edie McClurg, who is an actress in every single movie ever, including Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Yes. She plays the president of the Morality Council or something.
Yeah, I can't remember.
She's always that type of that like
prissy, stuck up.
Yeah, like snooty, not snooty, small town,
Snoopy,
Bible-y.
Yes,
Bible-y.
Bible-y.
You just look her up if you don't recognize the name. You know her.
She's a character actress.
It was there that she developed a Valley Girl type character, which is part of Elvira that it never clicked to me that she's not doing like a spooky, scary vampire voice. She's doing like a ditzy Valley Girl voice.
Right. It is a bizarre character.
Yeah. So the character was created by her. It was a time slot at a local like LA TV station that had done these sort of horror presentation shows before, where it was just they had a catalog of shitty B movies. Mm-hmm. And to get people to watch them, they would have a horror host who would like introduce it.
Right. A ghost host.
Yeah, like a Turner Classic Movies kind of thing.
Yeah.
It had been under several hosts. One of them was, I don't remember her name. I don't think I wrote it down.
Someone notable?
Notable for doing this. It was just,
Oh, okay.
she was like the first woman horror host.
Oh, cool.
And she played a character called Vampira.
Ah,
Vampira.
Okay.
I don't really know what I'm doing with these vampire
Female
women pronunciations.
vampire
So when they hired Cassandra to take this role, it was originally going to be the daughter of Vampira.
Oh, interesting.
And it was going to be based on a Sharon Tate character from some vampire movie. And then they got like sued by that woman.
Oh,
So they couldn't do that character. So
interesting.
instead,
She created Elvira?
she created it like the character, and then the look was created by her friend, and I believe, I might be getting this part wrong, I believe he was also part of that gay review show.
Oh, cool. Okay.
His name was Robert Redding, who was a gay man who created the look of Elvira,
That
which
makes total sense.
was, I've got to find the pull quote from it, because it's,
Oh.
the construction of it is fascinating. The look for Elvira was that Robert Redding had done a production of Macbeth, and so he took the character Hecate,
Yeah.
the witch,
The lead witch.
yeah, but using kabuki-style makeup and costuming,
Oh.
combined it with her Valley Girl character
Huh.
that she used, and the hair of Ronnie Spector from the Ronettes,
That totally makes sense.
which is also part of what she wanted, having been like, she was a huge music fan, rock and roll
Yeah.
fan. She was there are a ton of stories in the books about her being a groupie and getting to meet all of these people. She met like Jimi Hendrix.
Wow.
She was
Like as Elvira or
no, like this was when she was like
pre-Vira. Wow.
and then being in that Italian rock band.
Yeah. Amazing.
And she was also just a singer. She'd worked as a singer a lot. And so that was part of it, that they wanted her to be like a vampire, but also like punk rock kind of thing.
But also a Valley Girl.
Yeah, also this like Valley Girl bimbo.
Right.
Which is just a fascinating combination of things,
Yes.
which is now just known as her.
Yeah. Interesting.
So that was how they came up with the character. And then the name, I don't remember what the name was they were going to use, but they ended up not being able to do it. And so they had to come up with a new one. The story that she tells is that everyone in the room put names on a piece of paper and put them in a hat or something and drew it out, and it was Elvira.
Wow.
And they just went with it.
That's lucky.
Yeah. That show, it was like a local LA thing,
Yeah.
instantly became a huge hit in LA,
Mm-hmm.
but then also it was the first of those like horror hosting shows to be syndicated around
Wow.
the country.
Which is
So
hilarious
she got like
because
instantly really famous.
the whole point of those shows is that they're like highly local, extremely cheap, and a way
Right.
so that the network doesn't have to buy something syndicated. They can
And
just,
they
like, throw
kept it
something
really
together.
cheap the whole time.
I'm
They
sure.
didn't, it just like stayed the same thing.
Right.
She started doing like cameo jobs at different like events.
As Elvira.
Yes. She was turned into Halloween costumes. She was in magazines. She had her own comic book series with DC.
Wow.
Action figures, dolls, trading cards, calendars, pinball machines,
That-
theme park attractions, tons of like late night show appearances. She only did one initially. Her first appearance on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was as Cassandra Peterson.
Oh. Talking about Elvira?
Yes.
Or, okay.
And then after that, pretty much every time she went on any of those shows, it was as Elvira.
Well, when she was a guest host or guest judge on Drag Race, right?
Yes.
As Elvira, though, I'm pretty
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
That's most of her stuff. Pretty much everything since then, other than that one Tonight Show appearance, and then now,
Right.
like lately, she has started appearing more, especially for this book tour as Cassandra. So after that got so popular, they made the movie
Mm-hmm.
Mistress of the Dark,
Which is what we watched.
which was intended to be a TV show.
Oh.
This is super interesting. So
Huh.
it was NBC came to her wanting to do a show,
Mm-hmm.
but because at the time there was that like stigma of TV actors never going into movies,
Right, of course.
they wanted to do a movie first. She did. So they were like, okay, we'll do a movie if you
Right.
let us do the show too. So they made the movie.
And it was a huge hit, and then she got a show.
Well, it wasn't a huge
I
hit.
know, it was not a huge hit at all.
Partially because it was doing pretty well, and then got pulled from theaters because the production company, or the distributor rather, of the movie went like bankrupt and had these like racketeering allegations and shit, and so
Jesus.
the theaters were worried they wouldn't be able to
Recoup
Pay?
there. Yeah.
So it got pulled, but then did
Wow.
really well on video.
Well, no, I mean, it became, pardon the slight pun, but it became like a cult classic.
Yes. She said, I don't remember the number, but it was in like some top something list of like the best-selling video, like VHS of all
that
time.
doesn't surprise me at all. Or like most rented VHS.
So the show, they ended up doing it a little later. They made a pilot for it. And it was sort of similar to the movie.
Okay.
Where it was...
like a fictionalized version of the fictional character Elvira? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Not like Cassandra Peterson playing Elvira. It was like Cassandra Peterson playing a fictional version.
No. Yeah, okay, so it wasn't that. Because, in the movie, it's Elvira is the person, but Elvira is a horror hostess for a TV station.
And is a person.
Yes. So, but this, I think, was that she was actually like a witch or like a...
Right, okay. Yeah. Which it turned out to be in the movie, too.
Yeah, so...
well, descended from witches, but same thing.
It was her and her aunt, who were both witches that were like on the run from town to town, trying to lay low, and their talking black cat, wise-ass black cat. Now, does that sound familiar at all?
Like Sabrina?
Yeah.
Wait, did this get like reused?
Apparently, it was all ready to go, and people at the studio were really liking it, and then a higher-up who hadn't seen it yet walked by during a screening of it and supposedly said, quote, "Who ordered this? We can't have tits like that on CBS." And it got canceled before it premiered.
Wow.
A year later, CBS premiered Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
That's crazy. Although, to be fair, Sabrina is based on a comic.
Yeah. But I feel like also there had to have been elements
the
there.
Sitcom of a witch with a talking black cat and
the black
with
cat.
Her aunts. Yeah. Which I don't. I mean, as
trying
far
to
as
fit into a normal life, suburban.
The comic was more like the horror and supernatural version of Archie.
Yeah,
was like what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, so that's like wild.
That's crazy.
They did film a sequel and released a sequel to this movie, Elvira's Haunted Hills. Yes.
Oh, I did know that. Yes.
Which was filmed in Transylvania.
That's awesome.
For the Haunted Hills release, they premiered it in a bunch of different screenings around the country that they toured, and all of the proceeds from that were donated to AIDS charity fundraisers.
Wow.
Because she does talk a lot in the book about all of her friends, and she was a real advocate for gay rights, for AIDS awareness and research, and for animal rights. She was like a huge PETA person, like when it first started getting a lot of attention.
Interesting.
She was one of the leads on the campaign against fur.
Oh.
And then she's just continued doing different TV specials since then.
Well, I know
they revived Movie Macabre multiple times.
They?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. She was in a couple Scooby-Doo movies.
She was. Ones. She did a Hulu series. She's doing a Shudder series right now called Elvira's 40th Anniversary Very Scary, Very Special.
Huh.
So yeah, still out there killing it. Just, again, gotta read this book.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's her. That's Elvira.
Yes.
We wanted to do something specific, so we watched the movie.
Which somehow I had never seen.
No, I had never seen it either.
Especially after having seen it, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like this, I wish I'd seen it sooner.
Well, I was like, I didn't quite grasp exactly how camp she was until watching the movie, and then I was like, okay, this is all making a lot more sense.
Yes.
Because holy shit, this is one of the campiest movies I've ever seen in my life.
And I loved it.
I did too.
Oh my god.
Obsessed. I can't wait to watch it again.
I know, me too.
It's based a lot on her life, about the wanting to be a Vegas showgirl. That was her biggest dream when she was a kid. But it's about Elvira, not Cassandra.
Right. It's a
playing a horror
hostess
who ends up getting stuck in a small town.
Well, she's trying to get a Vegas show together, and the producers pull out, and she basically needs to get money for the down payment to do it, and then finds out that her rich aunt died, or something like that.
It's the... I don't know what you call her, because I remember that Elvira was her grandniece, which I remember because the villain of the movie, who's like another...
a warlock.
He is a warlock, but he's also related to the woman somehow, because he's set to gain some of her belongings. When they're doing the reading of the will, and the attorney says they have to wait for the grandniece, his line is, "Who is this grandniece?" Very dramatic.
Yes.
And I'm obsessed with it. I rewound it like 3 times because I thought it was a really good line reading.
And it's Elvira. So, like, the plot is very, old relative dies, you inherit the old creepy manor, but, like, you must go and live in it immediately.
Yeah.
Which I was like, okay, so it's going to be like your standard haunted house thing, where there's, like, ghosts and stuff.
Oh, she also couldn't leave because her car, the Macabre-mobile,
great name,
broke down.
Yeah. Pretty much as soon as she's in town, and even before she's in town, she's constantly sexually harassed.
Yes.
Like, non-stop.
Which at first I was just like, one, it's a little jarring to watch.
Especially when it's, like, played for laughs. Not that the harassment's played for laughs, but her reaction to it, like, femme fataling them away.
Yeah, it comes into a lot clearer focus, I think, after reading the book, because, very true to life. She's been around a while and has experienced a lot of that. There are so many attempted and successful sexual assaults against her in that book. It is mind-blowing.
Well,
including by a lot of famous people. Fun fact, Wilt Chamberlain, famous NBA player, piece of shit.
Yeah, one of the first things that struck me from the movie, not like as soon as it was done, I was like, upon reflecting, like immediately as the movie was going on, was like, this is way more feminist than I would have expected.
Yeah.
Not that I expected some, sexploitation piece of shit movie, but like so much of it is about letting a woman be the person that she wants to be, and most importantly, to just be a person, rather than an object or a commodity.
It's not just the sleazy men, which are a huge part of it, of her rebuffing them. That starts from like moment one, because the like head honcho at the TV studio very openly and with a lot of people around is like, you gotta have sex with me if you want to keep the show going, basically. And she denies him. And then he says, he grabs her tits and says, it's milking time.
God.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of shit like that.
And she stomps on his foot and he screams.
Right.
But it's not, the humor isn't in the assaults.
Right.
Or the sleazy,
which for a long time was where the humor would be derived from such things.
It was always on her combating it with either humor or sometimes violence, if necessary. And but it's not just them, it's also the like morality committee in the town, like all of these moms and things. There's also the jealous bowling alley worker, which is a little problematic.
Yes.
In that she's jealous because she's flat-chested.
Right.
But I mean, there's also a very real thing in there about women taking down other women.
Yes.
But yeah, it is very feminist, because that's the message of the whole movie, is about being yourself. Which she gives that message to a bunch of teens.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Most of the boys are like obsessed with her and like seemingly hypnotized and in a trance, kind of.
There's a whole scene. It's so 80s.
Yeah.
Every 80s movie has to have a gaggle of stupid, horny boys that attempt some stupid stunt to see a boob.
Yep. Just one boob.
In this, they're climbing up the side of her house in an attempt to get a picture of, quote, those gazongas.
Amazing.
Which they do successfully get a picture of. Gotta hand it to them.
They know what they're doing.
Then she slams the window on their hands and they fall off the building.
Right.
But then later, they're her friends, helping to restore the house and learning lessons along the way.
Lessons about staring down a woman's shirt and looking at her butt.
Well, there's that, but then also
they're getting boys to like pay them to be able to work on the house with her, so that they can like watch her work on the house.
That's true,
which is really funny.
They do come to her aid later when she asks them.
Yeah, a number of times we've talked about like womanhood or queerness being like a power, and that it's like the power that you have in that is the reason that people fear you or hate you.
Right.
And that felt very relevant here, because of course it turns out that she's like descended from witches and like has magic, and is someone, her great uncle is seeking out her spell book to basically take her magic away because he thinks she doesn't deserve it, and he does, which is like classic feminist witch story of like a warlock thinks that witches are weaker and wants to seize all of the magic power for himself.
And also classic shitty horror movie.
Yeah, classic shitty horror
This
movie as
embodies in so many ways.
Yeah, it takes a real turn in like Act 3 where it stops. Like Act 1 is like pure, just like campy, almost like Hollywood comedy, because it's a lot about like her wanting to put her act together and her, you know, getting down on her luck.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like kind of teen sex romp. And then it becomes like actual like horror fantasy movie.
Right. The teens,
with like effects and stuff.
So she co-wrote this with John Paragon, who was a part of the Groundlings, who she was also her co-writer for the show.
And he was also Zombie on Pee-wee's Playhouse, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I believe she also appeared on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
As Elvira, or just
No.
like as some other
This was
character?
pre-Elvira.
Oh, okay.
Or I think in the sketches he did at Groundlings, not in the TV show.
That makes sense. Okay.
So they co-wrote this, and she talks about it in the book. It was originally supposed to be sort of based on The Wizard of Oz, which elements are still there of the like, she ends up in like place far from home with the little dog who is a...
What is its name again? It's like
I wrote it down.
Crunt or something?
It's not quite Crunt.
It's a word that means something different now.
Is it a word that means something? It's Algonquin,
Is
and
the
which she
full
calls
name.
Gonk.
Gonk. Like Gonk Droid.
Oh, right. I love... So, yeah. It's...
I was close with Crunt.
Turns out to be a magical, like, shape-shifting dog
Yes.
that...
Well, it's a familiar.
Right. But she initially gives it, like, a punk rock haircut with, like, a mohawk.
Yeah.
And after that, every time he shows up in a scene, there's this, like, sick electric guitar riff that plays that I'm obsessed with.
Yep. Which is great. It's kind of like how Wonder Woman has her ancient lamentation music that plays every time she shows up.
Yes. While
Crunt
we're talking
has-
about just little things we liked in the movie, there's a good clip of it on YouTube. But in the bowling alley, soon after she first arrives to the town, two guys come up to her and start harassing her, naturally.
As they do.
And she pours 2 large beers into their crotches. And then they, like, threaten her. So she stands up and pulls out a knife very quickly and says, "I cut you, man." Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
That's awesome.
Which also then turns out to be a prop knife,
Right. It's fake.
which is campy.
She's,
I cut you,
she's
man.
really funny.
She is. So a lot of the jokes in this are very, very cheesy,
Yes.
which is part of it.
But like
They're supposed to be.
knowingly cheesy.
Yes. And a lot of them are just really, really good.
Yes.
I don't know if I knew that a joke that recurs a lot on RuPaul's Drag Race that Ru loves bringing up is
Yeah. How's your head?
asking how's your head.
And the response being, haven't had any complaints.
Right. That's this.
Yeah.
There was one that I loved that she had after she like asks for the teens' help to. I don't remember what she's asking them to do, but she's basically going on this like dramatic, like my life is over thing, asking for their help, and says like, when I'm gone, when you speak of me, I just want you to say 2 simple words. I don't care which 2, just as long as they're simple.
Yes. Like things like
I really
that.
like that.
That are just like good comedy writing.
Here's to my big opening.
Yes. So much innuendo and double entendre.
There's nothing wrong with G-rated movies as long as there's lots of sex and violence.
Maybe
really
that's why Lorne Michaels didn't like her, because famously... Oh, wait, no, that was the Muppets. Never mind.
I feel like it might have been something about not wanting it to be hosted by a character.
Oh, yeah. Have they ever done that since? Did, like, Borat
I feel like
host
they
or
have
something?
to have done it at some point.
Yeah.
But it's also the network wanted to do it and he didn't.
Okay. So it might have been more
they
of
were
like,
like,
a
"No,
power
we're gonna
thing
do
of
it."
like, I deserve to resist what
She was
you
like a
tell me to
big
do.
commodity.
Right. For NBC.
Yeah, and for she had a big campaign with Coors. She was Coors became the official beer of Halloween with her as the spokesperson. It was a huge success.
Awesome.
So much so that people were like, they couldn't keep the standees, the big cardboard cutouts in
Of her
stores
because
because they
people were
kept
stealing
stealing them.
I would.
It
I bet
ended
they're
up
worth a lot of money now.
it ended up ending because the like president or whatever of the company, I guess in part of the Satanic Panic, thought that she was a demon or something.
To be fair,
was like-
that's also a plot of the movie,
Yeah.
is people thinking she's evil, which of course it turns out she is a witch.
Right.
But
that
there's
doesn't
nothing
mean you're evil.
inherently evil in her.
Right.
Although she does summon demons a couple times and drug everyone.
Accidentally.
Yes.
When she's cooking from that spell book
Right.
as if it's totally normal.
Which is hilarious.
And disgusting.
Yeah, cooking with like Eye of Newt
Yeah.
and like stuff like that.
She was the first female celebrity in the US to endorse a beer.
That's shocking. Using women to sell beer?
She was also the first spokesperson, period, for Mug Root Beer.
That's really funny. The official root beer of Halloween.
We're getting away from the movie. There are so many ridiculous factoids
Just
about
weird
her
details
that
about
are
her life.
insane. She's also, she credits the gay community for making Halloween a popular holiday for adults. This is
Oh.
where the Coors thing came in, because they wanted another holiday to sell a lot of beer.
Sure.
And no one had cornered
Besides
Halloween.
Thanksgiving?
Besides like St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July.
St. Patrick's Day.
Um,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.
Well, if you figure football.
My drunkest day.
Yeah, that's true.
So there was a Wall Street Journal article in the 80s that said, Halloween, once a romp for kids clad as pirates and princesses, now rivals St. Patrick's Day and New Year's Eve as a party time for adults. Blame it on Elvira.
Blame it!
Well, I don't know.
I think it's more
specifically.
just give credit to her.
Right.
for-
She said she gives credit to the gays.
Totally. Gays love any excuse to get in a costume and
Right.
hang out.
Yeah. So I already said I can't wait to watch this again.
Yeah.
I can't believe I hadn't seen it before. I'm
Yes.
definitely going to watch Elvira's Haunted Hills.
Oh, yeah.
So go read this book, Yours Cruelly, Elvira.
That's you telling me.
You and anyone listening to this.
Right.
Like, I like a good memoir. Not of like historians or any of that bullshit. I'm talking about celebrities.
Yeah.
Usually comedians.
People that matter.
This was like, I sped through this.
Yeah.
Because it was so like, her life is nuts. She lived in a treehouse in LA with someone who played Tarzan.
Okay. Was he in the treehouse because he played Tarzan?
No, he was just kind of Tarzan-esque.
Okay.
He was in the movie. Actually,
Oh.
he cameoed as the
The
cop
animated
that
movie?
pulls her over in the very beginning.
Oh, he was in this movie. I thought
Yeah.
you meant in Tarzan.
No. He played Tarzan. It was some Tarzan movie in Brazil or something.
Oh, God.
It wasn't like a well-known Tarzan.
Yeah. He's
There were a bunch of cameos in the movie, so there were like several Groundlings people
Yeah.
in it.
No Paul Rubens, though, from what I could tell.
John Paragon,
He was in
the
it.
co-writer, he was the gas station attendant
Right.
also towards the beginning. Her parents are in it,
Oh.
in the town scene right after her car breaks down.
Oh.
And the main love interest, Bob, in the credits is Bob Redding, named after Robert Redding.
Oh, cool.
Because this was after he died, I believe.
Okay. Also in this, the actor who played Kaneki from Grease.
Oh, right.
I think he's either one of the teens or like one of the townspeople. So I really need to watch the sequel. Everybody
Yeah.
at home needs to watch the first one. You can
Yeah.
find it on Tubi.
You may have also seen it.
Oh yeah, if you've already seen it, watch it again.
It's an older movie.
Yes, but it checks out.
It does check out. I feel like I'm officially an Elvira fan now.
Yeah.
Or stan.
An Elvira stan?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, when is that country getting founded?
Today.
We've done it. We'll make a flag. It'll be a spooky skeleton.
We've done Halloween episodes before.
Yeah.
Halloween and or Halloween-ish episodes with spooky things like Practical Magic.
Love. Speaking of a movie about a witch with two aunts.
Check those out. Apple Podcasts. And like we said before, you can now rate us on Spotify. So if
Yeah.
you're listening on Spotify, please do so.
Give us some stars. Have a spooky season.
I'm not endorsing that.
What? Fair enough.